everyone, I'm Vicky, welcome to my channel. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button. If you are already part of my little sub family, thank you so much. So I've just come back from the seaside. We've been to Scarborough and I just felt like doing something productive and doing a bit of filming. So today's video is going to be 5 recently read books. Some of these I did read quite a while ago, so if I do struggle to remember what actually happens in the book, don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll just deal with that. So yeah, hopefully I can just get through with this quite quickly and then I can get myself settled in for the night. The first book that I would like to share with you is The Undomesticated Goddess by Sophie Kinsella. There is a bit of a theme. There is a few Sophie Kinsella books that I've read. So if you do not know the storyline within this book, it is basically about a young woman called Samantha who is a lawyer. She has a very, very stressful job, and it's just kind of like, well, how much is it worth? Like the amount of time that has to be dedicated into a career. And something happens at work. She's basically, she's set up basically. So something happens and she is mortified with what has gone off and she just can't deal with it. She just ends up standing up and just walking out. I've been there before. I've sort of been in that sort of like shock moment where you just don't know what to do. So that is what happens with Samantha in this storyline, and she just gets on the first train and then ends up out in the countryside. Realises that she can't go back, like a story has begun to develop in her old workplace of what has gone off and how Samantha is to blame for it. So she feels like she can't go back, but she's stranded out in the middle of nowhere. So she has to come up with a way to earn some money and have somewhere to live. So she becomes a housekeeper for a really lovely couple who have absolutely no idea who she is and what has gone off in the city. Samantha, who has no skills at all with running a household and cooking and cleaning, is now their new housekeeper. So she does all of their jobs around the house. She stumbles through the first day and comes across a gentleman who's also their groundskeeper, and he introduces Samantha to his mum, who is a wonderful woman, and ends up teaching Samantha how to do the cooking, the cleaning and all of the other domesticated jobs correctly. So if you've read a Sophie Kinsella book before, you will know that there is pretty much always a love story entwined. So obviously Samantha and the gardener sort of like have a bit of a romance, and you can never run away from your past. So what happens in her law firm does come out in the wash eventually, and the whole thing just sort of blows up in her face. I do love a good Sophie Kinsella book. So I didn't find any characters within this book annoying. I just really enjoyed the storyline, and it's the second time that I've read this book, so it is a really nice, easy read and one that I just love to pass the time with. So like I said, sticking with Sophie Kinsella, this one is 20s Girl, and I have read this one twice now as well. I do think I may end up giving these away to charity and allowing someone else the pleasure of reading these books and yeah, getting to know the storyline. So this one is about a young girl called Lara, and she ends up going to a funeral of her great aunt. She didn't know her great aunt, and then all of a sudden she can see this young woman in 20s get up, but the young woman in the 20s get up cannot be heard or seen by anybody else but Lara. So then she discovers that that is actually her great aunt, but obviously coming back in a younger form, and then her aunt is wearing a beautifully beaded necklace with a dragonfly on the bottom. Her great aunt Sadie cannot rest until she is reunited with her dragonfly necklace, which has gone missing. So Lara sets off on this quest to help Sadie find the dragonfly necklace. It's a really nice story because the two women didn't know one another, but throughout the process of locating the necklace, they get to know one another really, really well. And it's actually quite sad at the end when the necklace is found and then Sadie can just go off and to wherever that other place may be. I don't want to give too much away, but I do want to just give you like the gist of the storyline. Once again, Sophie Kinsella loves a good little romance, so obviously there is a gentleman who comes into the story and gets with Lara, and it does finish on another happy note, although like I did say, it is a little bit bittersweet because obviously Sadie then does disappear. Next up I have got Indian Night with Don't You Want Me. This was a book that was given to me from my auntie in a massive selection of books, and yeah, I'm going in order what's on my bookshelf, so I force myself to read it. It's not one that I would have been drawn to. It's about a lady called Stella who is a single mum, and she sort of wants to get back into the dating game. So it kind of goes through her disastrous sort of like flings with a number of men before she realises that the perfect man for her is right in front of her face. So a bit of a cliche sort of storyline, but like I said, I'm a bit stubborn when it comes to books, and I will sort of like force myself to continue and get to the end. Like, it's not a very big book, it doesn't hold that many pages, and I don't know, like I don't know why I'm so stubborn. Like, if I'm not really fully enjoying a book, I don't know why I force myself to get through it, but I do. And I think forcing myself to finish a book that I've not really been 100% about makes me just appreciate the books that I do really love more, if that makes any sense. I don't know. So yeah, that's like the gist of this story. It was one of them, like, it was good to have something on my break times, and yeah, just to pass the time with. So this is a book that I've read which I've kind of forgotten the storyline. I do apologise, I will do my best. So it's Jill Mansell, An Offer You Can't Refuse. So what I can remember is it's about a young woman who was in a relationship, and at the time she was so in love. So it's like your first love. Lola and this guy called Dougie, they were dating and they were totally besotted with one another. Yet Dougie's mother didn't really like Lola, so then she made a proposition to Lola, but it wasn't really like presented in the best way of as a proposition. It was more of a you better take this offer now sort of threatening behaviour. So Lola was given £10,000, but the deal was that she had to break up with Dougie. So some stuff went on within Lola's family, which meant that she desperately needed the money to help her family get out of a bit of a crisis. So she ended up breaking up with Dougie, taking the money, and never ever seeing him again. That is what happened. And then fast forward a number of years, and Lola and Dougie end up getting, and Lola and Doug end up meeting one another again. Obviously he thinks that she just finished with him for no reason, so he absolutely despises her, whereas she still loves him. So now that she's older and she's wiser, she tries to like woo him back, but unfortunately like things keep getting in the way, and she doesn't really want the truth to come out of why she took the money when she was younger. But like all stories, like everything comes out in the end, and that is what happened. So even though Lola was trying her best to save her family and stop anything from happening with that, everything was just brought to the surface anyway, and like any romance book, it had a nice happy ending with Lola and Doug getting back together. There was obviously so much more that happens in this book, but I just can't remember. Like, do you ever have a book like that where you read something and it just doesn't stay with you? It just doesn't, yeah, you just don't retain any of the information. There's nothing against the storyline. It was a decent book, it was a decent read. I just don't know what I was doing at the time when I was reading it, but obviously, yeah, I must have been half concentrating. So next and the final book is another Jill Mansell book, and this one is Perfect Timing. So this book is about a young woman called Poppy who is out on her endu, and she ends up seeing a guy and being totally head over heels for him and wondering, why the hell is this happening? It is my Hindu. So she ends up cancelling her wedding. She doesn't end up going and running off with this guy. She just cancels her wedding and moves away and just reassesses her life, basically. So then she's got some flatmates. She's living in an apartment with another girl and a guy. She gets herself a job with an antique dealer, and then the story becomes a bit more about the other people that she's living with as well, and how they all merge and how it all comes together with them in their situation. When I was reading this book by Jill Mansell, and after reading the previous book by this author, I don't know if it's a going theme and a going trend with this author, but so far she loves to have a female lead, and they always seem to have daddy issues, like they don't have a dad around, or their dad has passed away, or they've got a stepdad. Like, I know I've not read a lot of books, but sometimes when I'm reading the same author like a number of times, you pick up on their writing style and what they like to have within their storylines. And for me, Jill likes to have a female lead, like I said, and someone who doesn't have a nuclear family. So yeah, I think I've got a few more Jill Mansell books on my bookcase, so I will get round to reading them and we'll see if the theme sort of continues throughout those. But yeah, this has just been a very quick 5 recently read books. Like I said, I've read some of these books months ago, so the storylines are a bit vague in my mind now, but I had a bit of time after going out today, so I just wanted to sit down, do something a little bit productive, actually get this video recorded so that I can spend some time editing it when, yeah, I have the time available. So hopefully you have enjoyed this. If you haven't, I'm sorry. I just like to read my books during my break times at work, or on an evening before I go to bed, just to help me go to sleep. So I like to document what I've read. I feel like it stops me from buying the same book that I've already gone through, so I know myself what I enjoy, what I don't enjoy. But yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you've watched it till the end, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Hopefully see you again soon, but for now, goodbye.